I'm not talking about residents there.
Yeah, that's their residence on the list, yeah.
We're not getting any tax.
My guess is there isn't any ability to do that, because it's not, there's waterway, but there might be. I know there's a lot of preemption in what we can and can't do for people that are married.
Well, I'm not telling them to quote them more, I'm just saying the taxes, like I pay.
I don't think we can, but I will, we can find out. Let you know for sure. I like the idea.
I mean, it's starting to get more and more. They're trying to trade and
Recording in progress. everyone, and welcome. It's now 6 p.m. and the June 2nd, 2025 City Council meeting will come to order. Please join me in the opening prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve the people of Bel Air Beach. We are especially grateful for this council and city staff, a dedicated group of individuals who work with respect, cooperation, and a shared commitment to our city. Bless their efforts and the spirit of unity they bring to each meeting. As we begin tonight's meeting, we ask for your guidance. Help us make wise and thoughtful decisions that serve the best interest of all who call this place home. We remember those still facing hardship from last year's hurricanes. Grant them comfort, strength, and steady progress as they continue to rebuild. And as we enter a new hurricane season, we ask for your protection over our community and all who live along these shores. Bless this meeting, our city staff, and our neighbors. Amen. Now please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Frank Bankert.
Present.
Councilmember Kim Shaw Elliott.
Present.
Councilmember Todd Harper.
Present.
Councilmember Jody Shirley.
Here.
Councilmember Anders Wellings.
Here.
Vice Mayor Lloyd Roberts.
Here.
Mayor Dave Gaddis.
Here.
City Manager Kyle Riegler.
Here.
City Attorney Nancy Meyer.
Here.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, our first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion. Motion is made by Councilmember Baker. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll give that to both of you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. Now we're on to citizens' comments. If any citizen would like to address the council about a topic not already on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be called on. Each speaker will be recognized once and limited to a 3-minute presentation. I remind you to please direct all questions and comments to the council. Would anyone like to speak? All right, seeing as we have none, citizen comments are now closed. Now we're on to a presentation from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
Good evening, everybody. Sergeant Bly here. These are stats for the month of April 2025. We had one burglary and one larceny. So the burglary was a garage door that was left open. Guy got out of his vehicle and tried to enter the Tesla that was in the garage. The Tesla was locked. He did make it into another car that was in the driveway that was unlocked and took a pair of sunglasses. And the larceny that was in the city was a stolen license plate. We don't actually know if it was stolen in the city or if it was taken somewhere else in a shopping plaza or whatever. So the only reason that was found out that the tag was stolen is because he started getting charges from unauthorized toll violations. Our main activity that the law enforcement is completing is traffic stops within the city. We had 141. We also had 96 directed patrols, 56 illegal parkings, 36 house checks, and 34 ordinance violations to round out your top 5. Traffic again is our biggest activity. We had 2 crashes, 3001 Gulf Boulevard and Gulf Boulevard and 18th Street. And a total of 200 citations and warnings were written for the city of Bel Air Beach during April. Any questions regarding April's stats?
Council?
Did you catch the burglar?
They processed the car, sir, but I don't think the burglar's been caught yet.
Okay. So, any other questions?
Quick question. Of the 200 citations, how many of those were actually warnings and how many of those were actually citations?
That's a great question. I would have to look that up. Let's see. I don't think it's listed in here.
It's on here.
Percentages.
Traffic, oh yeah, so 48%, 95 of them were actual warnings, 20% of them were parking, and 47 or 24% were actual traffic tickets.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? I have noticed a lot of heavy presence on Gulf Boulevard and also on the bridge, and I greatly appreciate it. It's definitely making a difference.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Great to hear. If you guys need anything, let us know.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much. All right, next up is code enforcement report. Hello, Deputy.
Good evening, everyone. Deputy Trump, how are you? You'll have to bear with us a little bit. We're working with a new program that Kyle has me working with. It's called the iWork program that a lot of his staff uses, and we decided to change my program, or for me to start using the program also. So we're tweaking the program and how we're going to present it here a little bit, so just bear with us. In your packets, I believe you can scroll down or page through and you'll see all the calls or stops that I have been making. Please note that in the graph, it basically shows the initial presence at a certain address or what we're doing. But the numbers are a little deceiving, and for the fact of if you go back through again all the calls, you'll start seeing notes. All those notes that are under maybe one address, those are follow-ups and extra stops that I'm making. So those are all individual stops that we're making. I'm sorry I don't have an exact count for you, but just be aware that those are extra stops and follow-ups that we're doing on an initial problem. Hopefully gaining compliance, which we've been working, or getting a lot of good compliance with people. We're still working a lot as far as trying to, get a lot of things cleaned up. There's a lot of houses that are still coming down, and there's more to be expected as far as deconstruction and everything. With that, we're going to have calls as far as workers and work trucks out there and clean up after that, but they're doing pretty good as far as compliance with that. And we're trying to, any new construction, we're trying to make sure that they're keeping the lots and everything cleaned up, or get the dumpsters where they need to keep everything clean there. Other than that, we're working a lot still with ground cover, trying to get people to start, let's make some progress here, trying to get your ground cover back in shape and going with that. So bear with us as far as the new graph, but it's nice to work with because I can just email my photos right into the new program, and that way there are photos attached to each and every call without problem. Any questions as far as that goes?
Council?
I have one, and I do appreciate the new report. Thank you for doing that. One question I had dealt with the RV in the side yard, and it looks as though part of the issue was that the house across the street is deemed to be adjacent, and that was new to me, so I just wanted to verify that. So it's not limited to the side.
They can have say a boat or a trailer, they can have it in the side yard, but it has to have some type of a fence or living fence in front of it, because the yards across the street is still visible from the front. So it's considered by the city, considered by us as being adjacent. If you can still see the boat or trailer or whatever it be from the front.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Not a question, I just think that this is fabulous, this format, the amount of information that's available, the history, the notes. So thank you for both parties and getting together on this.
Yes, sir. It's working well. It's been a little learning progress, and Kyle and I, like I said, I'm sorry, the city manager, I apologize. We are still tweaking it a little bit here and there to suit the needs for everyone. So that hopefully we can give you a good report, but it's working well. It's a lot of documentation, but I think it's working pretty well.
Good. That's who I am.
I like the fact that most of the problems are discovered by you.
We are trying.
I like that.
We are trying.
I like that. That keeps neighbors from fighting with each other and getting to that point.
We're trying to hit the bigger problems, obviously, right now, and we'll get back to the garbage can that's left in the driveway a little bit later. But we're trying to hit the bigger things right now. I think it's working.
And I agree with Councilmember Roberts, or Vice Mayor Roberts, that this is nice. This is a wealth of information that we haven't had in the past. So kudos to you and Kyle.
Yeah, with it. I think the city manager's happy with it, and when you get a chance, it's a lot of information in there. I try to give you information. So there's a lot of notes in there as far as what the follow-up is presenting and everything else. When you get a chance to read it, it'll give you some Sunday reading or something, that's for sure.
Sure. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Oh, one quick question. What does FIDN stand for?
Oh, I'm sorry. And maybe I should spell that out. Basically, what it is to try and gain compliance with everyone for something especially minor like garbage cans out or your grass is too tall or something of that nature. What we do is we have a door hanger that I can check off, what the issue is or make little notes as far as, tall grass over 7 inches or however, and we'll put that on somebody's house. And it allows them 5 days, to try and rectify the problem. And I'll go back roughly 5 days or next week or however, and I'll follow up on it. And if we're still not gaining compliance, I try to knock on people's doors and try and talk to them about it first and say, here's why, here's what it is. But that's what the 5DN means. It's 5-day notice that we'll put on somebody's door and say, hey, got a little problem. Let's see if we can address it and try and make everybody happy.
That's a nice way to handle it. Thank you.
Okay?
Mr. Banker, do you have a question?
You answered part of my question because a lot of these houses are still abandoned, and I do see what you tape stickers on
Yes, sir.
doors or whatever. How much time consuming is it if someone doesn't answer you in 5 days or? Some of these people I haven't seen in weeks, months.
Yes, sir. There's a little bit more of a process to it that, me working through the city and everything else, instead of just getting a hold of somebody and just, let's write up an ordinance violation right off the bat, we're trying to work with them to gain compliance. So I'll start with a 5-day notice, and I'll take that to the door or hang it to the door. I'll go back and I'll check on that. I'll make a note in there that nobody's there, or it hasn't changed, or we're not seeing any difference. From there, we start to look into maybe another address that they might be, we'll look into the county and everything, see if there might be a forwarding address or however. And if we need be, we're still not seeing any compliance after, I might let it go a little bit longer. If we're not seeing anything in a couple of weeks, then I make that note and I make that report to the city, the city manager, and I work with also Jennifer. And we will, at that point, deem if we need to send out a letter, possibly to another address, and make sure that they are aware, hey, there is a problem here, we need to try and address it. Like right now, I'm working on another one on Bayshore, and the lady, unfortunately, she lives way up north. I think it's actually Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, she has power of attorney over the house. So we're kind of having to work through the phone. I'm sending her pictures and everything else, making her aware of it. But if we're not seeing any type of compliance, then the next thing would be a letter from the city. And from there, if we don't deem compliance, and we've given them enough time, and they've received these letters, because if they go out certified mail, then it may go to a hearing next with the magistrate. And from there, it can start, looking into fines and everything else. But we try to get compliance and everything else before that.
I'm just saying, it's gotta be hard when no one's living there. A lot of these people bought these homes, they don't even live in the state,
Correct. It is. So tracking them down sometimes gets a little bit taxing, but we do the best that we can.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have a presentation for the Pinellas Suncoast Fire and Rescue District. Welcome, Chief.
Hi, thank you. Again, my name is Chief Ken Grimes, and I'm the new fire chief. I'm going to take advantage of that new title for the next year or so. So the new guy part. Thanks for having us. The district is doing really well. We're hitting on all cylinders. We've got a great and engaged, supportive board. Our firefighters are all very united and very focused and happy and motivated. Our leadership team, we've streamlined it a little bit, but it's very efficient and they're working well together. So I feel really good about where the organization is at this point. We're focused on one thing, two things really. We're that moment when somebody needs us, and we show up at their worst day of their life. And so we're going to be present in that moment and participate in it, and be ready to help in every way we can. And we're going to take care of that person and people that take care of them, because we, being caregivers, police, fire, all that, we have our own set of wellness issues with being a participant in those moments. So that's 100% of our focus. And in this last month, that involves 7 fire and EMS incidents in this area. From a fire prevention perspective, in May we did 12 annual inspections. We did 32 re-inspections, and we did 93 short-term rental inspections. I don't know, it's not as much of an issue, I don't think, with this city, but short-term rentals is, turned into quite a thing. For, we're 93 in just your jurisdiction, but it's said that in our coverage area we have 1,700 short-term rentals that technically need to be inspected and need to comply with various laws, either of the municipalities, or we actually have our own fire code that relates to short-term rentals that applies to them as well. So in this area, the city obviously adopts codes, but we have our own codes, and then the county also has codes that relate to short-term rentals. So it's turned into quite a thing to keep track of and get ahead of. It's a dynamic and changing. We're really concerned with coverage up here in this area. So we executed, or we closed on a property at the Church of the Isles, which is right on the border of Indian Rocks Beach and Bel Air Shores. It'll be years probably before we get a structure built there. So I know item 11, we're talking to you all about we're trying to figure out how to temporarily get something up this way, so that we can, it makes a huge difference if you just drive from causeway to causeway. That's basically the response time to here, and if you can cut those minutes off, those minutes count. So we're anxious to do something with you. I don't know if you want me to wait until item 11, or if you're going to talk about it.
You can mention it now, and then we have the bid.
Okay. I would love, so my dream, I have a dream. My dream would be to figure out how to go actually do something with the city. The sheriff's department's here. Wouldn't it be great if we also had a presence where you had fire and EMS, somehow built into the long-term plan? So I know we're talking about, and I'm jumping way ahead, but I know we're talking about a short-term solution to our long-term problem, which is, building the station up this way. But I'd also, if anybody ever has any ideas, or we could breathe life into the idea of, doing something together with the city, I just think, it just makes sense. So we have asked, I know that you have the property at, is it 10, it's on Cedar?
1001
Yeah, and so we have asked that we could operate out of there while we figure out what we build and figure out what we're doing at the Church of the Isles. There's a lot actually behind that property we had our realtor call, and it's potentially could be bought, which is adjacent to your tennis courts, which I think is an interesting idea as well. We'd be interested in helping or working with you in any way that we can work together. I guess that's what I say. Yeah, I wish I could figure out how to have an adjacent, presence, even long term. It will be very short term too.
Definitely something to discuss. And right now we're discussing down there, and once we get to that agenda item, we'll probably discuss some more about it.
Okay.
How's everything else going?
Yeah, excellent. We're breaking ground late summer of our Station 28, which is our mainland station. We're still mitigating our flood damage ourselves with our Station 27, which is the one there at the Narrows. But we did get, we got some grant money from the state to actually sort of remodel that station, so that's underway. And then we've got 2 station builds that we want to do, one up here and one down south. So got a lot of going on, it's just capital improvement. But as I said at the beginning, I think the guys and gals in the department are really tuned in, and I'm new, but I find that they're an amazing group of men and women who really love what they do. It's going really well.
Good. Any questions or comments for Chief Grimes?
Nice job.
Thank you.
You seem to be getting around quite a bit. I'm seeing you all over the place. Glad you're here. All right, now we are on to the city attorney report. Nancy, you don't have anything for me? All right. Any questions or comments for the city attorney? No? All right. Now we're on to the city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're up.
Okay, so I'll start off with some of the numbers that we're looking at for our hurricane recovery. I went and counted where we're at as far as our damaged homes and how many repair permits as far as repair remodels inside that house. Since the storm, we're at about 218, and that leaves us about 76. May not need a permit. Some of these houses we discovered that didn't have as much water as estimated. But that is not my primary focus right now. As those permits or applications come in, I'm tracking them, but right now I'm still hovering at 46 properties that are determined substantially damaged. I have 17 of those that are committed to either elevating or demo rebuild, so those will stay that way. And then I have 15 that I've had contact with. I'm working through those currently for reevaluations, and then I still am lingering about 15. I have not heard anything from the owner. So I sent letters and posted, but I'll continue to try to make contact. As far as the Golf Boulevard underground project, we have the agreement. We've been waiting on for the placement of the equipment in the right of way. That'll be an agenda item. The stormwater improvement projects. So good news is last week the harbor staff had met with the WAPRO, which is the manufacturer of the valves that we use. They met the representative out at each location and went over the measurements and how to install the valves back into the pipes. They're all a little bit different situations. In an ideal situation, you have a gasket around the valve and it fits like a seal into the end of the pipe. It creates a seal around the outside of the where it meets the pipe, and then you held in place by bolts back to the seawall or to the pipe itself. These are probably going to have to be actually installed into the pipe and grouted around. So it's a different installment method because of the CIPP, but it was important that that they did meet and kind of discuss how they're going to install each one of these valves. So this Thursday at 2 o'clock, I'm scheduled to meet with the contractor down at 9th Street. So 905 Harbor, which is a 9th Street valve, is where we're going to start. And that one's a pretty low valve, but I think we're going to get about 1 foot tide, and we'll discover, kind of how that goes, and we'll continue to work through these valves, get them reinstalled. We're going to have to work on the tide schedule, but we're committed to getting them back in. But that brings me to 7th Street as well. So I was in there on May 25th. We spent some time out there trying to pump out the area in front of the valve to dry it out so that we could do some repairs. And our efforts, we were unsuccessful. We couldn't get the water out to get in there. So I don't think it's something that that the city can pursue without some outside help from a contractor. So I have contacted Gemini, and we're going to get quotes to install a temporary coffer dam, using some vinyl pilings and a pump. We feel like that's, it may be an emergency measure, depending on the pricing, but we feel like we need to get in there and dry it out to get eyes on what's actually happening so we can get that fixed.
If, what's your timeline on 7th Street there?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible?
Price.
Okay, so if it turns into emergency expenditures, it's more than you're authorized for, or something like that, please ask for an emergency meeting and get us in here, let us vote for it, and so you can get it fixed.
So at this point, I think it'll just be, I may have to use an emergency measure in the purchasing policy just to get this dam in place so that we can get in there. But I will keep the council abreast of what's going on.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can we do an email vote on that, or rather than,
It has to be in person.
it has to be in person?
We can take a vote, but we have to have you can vote remotely like Zoom or a phone call, but we have to have a quorum here in this building.
We don't have to post it for 10 days or anything like that, like, since it's an emergency expenditure.
I think that's the route we was planning to go. City Attorney, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, because we need to notice it with record code, usually it's emergencies, it's a short time frame, so you just have to give some kind of notice you're having a meeting, so people have the ability to be here and comment. If you want to comment, we have to have a comment, so you said have a vote. And I believe, Demora, I told you previously that those that you have lunch before me, or some people can hear before me and vote. Some cities don't allow that, but it does.
Yes. And Mr. Baker, you've seen it firsthand. Can you kind of explain to everybody what's going on in your neighborhood?
Well, my neighborhood's bad, but 7th Street, Rogers and I were taken away.
Yeah, we did some videoing. Yeah, we had some new videos of like the 27th was a pretty high tide.
Yeah, and we had a 3.5-foot tide last week, which just poured right out. It almost crested the streets. In fact, on 7th Street,
Yeah, 7th Street was full.
even at the middle of the street.
And this is not because of high tide, this is because of a malfunctioning check valve. Is that
Well,
correct?
The two of them together.
The two of them together. I mean, there was no rain.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a sunny, dry day.
They were both backflowing.
Yes.
in the street because the water was up, but it didn't crest the seawall, it just,
Yeah, many of the streets where the check valve is working, was working, and it was, it was nice. Like, I went all the way down the first street and back up, and that's in good shape. Nice, not bad, but anyway. But that's because it drains out the check valve also, it keeps it draining out.
Right.
So, I thought that was, definitely good. But I understand, you told me this morning what you're doing, and, I should hear that. I am kind of curious, so you said you're gonna try and bring Gemini out, Gemini, give me an idea how fast they work?
So they're right now contacting contractors that they know that they can get out here quickly to at least get the dam in. So that we figure the next step is to dry it out, and regardless to either make a repair or to know exactly what we need to do going forward if we have to change where it comes out.
Now, when you dry it out, where's the rain?
That's gonna have to get pumped out. So that's one of the key's concerns, is that we are gonna get a lot of rain. So he wants to make sure that we have a large enough pump that can compensate for the amount of rain we're gonna be getting when the dam's in place. So he's running those numbers.
So you're gonna actually block it off, fix the valve.
Yes, block it off, pump it out, get it dry, and then go in there and look at it.
well, hopefully you're not doing it, that maybe you've got somebody else doing it.
Well, he was down
He was
there.
out there.
He's been
Yeah,
down there.
Okay, and then to continue on, we have the final building inspection on the South Park City Wall is today. And I'm assuming it passed, but we'll check with the county. That was about 1 o'clock. So that is complete. The manatee guard is in place. That check valve, they didn't have to pull it out. They did put a coffer dam in there to to work on that one and put the manatee guard in place. Our next, right now, we had a planning and zoning meeting scheduled for, or we were, no, we did have it scheduled for the 12th, but we did not have a attorney coverage. So now we were looking at the 18th, but we're also trying the 17th and the 19th. We're trying some other days of the week because it turns out Wednesdays are tough to get together. And then as far as the pump station design report, I spoke with a member of Elliott. They are going to have it wrapped up this week. They want to send it and meet with her on Monday. And then as soon as they feel like they've met her expectations, then they will release the report.
You think we'll have something to vote on the next meeting?
Yes, because that will be next week, so I should give some time. I've been looking at dates. We have the Veterans Memorial opening ribbon cutting coming on June 21st. After that, the focus would be the 75th celebration, and in looking at dates later in the year, we have some Saturdays open in October, but I was thinking trying to catch some kind of event date before the holidays, but once it goes down, so for live music, hopefully we'll have another member of the Park and Recreation Board, so we can start holding meetings and get them involved.
Good.
Let me just make sure I covered that. And then I sent out the information on the budget. You saw the preliminary estimate for the values is a negative 0.58% fall. The property appraiser feels, with normal hurricane seasons, he feels that we should recover on those values in 2 to 3 years. We'll expect, we're going to see a little bit more of an adjustment the next go around. We'll see we'll get the final numbers in the beginning of July for this year, and we'll see how close to it's turned out to be.
You're gonna see the big adjustment.
And then I believe that covers everything to get to the agenda items.
Questions or comments for the city manager?
Kyle, on them 17, I guess they're substantially damaged. They're completely elevated and demo the building.
Yes.
So they've applied for elevated floors. They can't do anything to the building until it's elevated.
The ones that are applied, yes,
Yeah.
it's still what they're telling.
So property continues to deteriorate until the state comes through with a yay or nay, right? And they all, there's nothing we can do about it.
That's all.
I mean, there is a house over on Hibiscus that is elevating after doing the renovation, after doing all the mitigation, doing all the interior work. Now they're starting the elevating process, and they apply. So I think you can do the repairs prior to applying.
You can't do them under the elevated floor. If you're using their process, you can't elevate your home until they give you the permission to do it.
Right, but I think your comment was the house is continuing to deteriorate,
Right.
and that's not necessarily true, because they can go ahead and do the repairs to their home. Interior is what I've seen from a
So,
previous council member.
That did happen.
Yeah.
That did happen. Recently, I've kind of gone over this through with the building department, and they're not issuing full mitigation elevation permits unless they're all in one. So they're no longer doing it. That was a unique situation. It was very early on. We were pressing to get permits rolling, and they originally came out as not substantially damaged, so that enabled things to start rolling on our property. And then things shifted after that. I recently had one come in, and they want everything wrapped up. The only way you're going to be able to do a repair before an elevation is if you get yourself not substantially damaged. Or anything that's repairable.
Other questions or comments for the city manager?
Of the 17 that were substantially damaged, how many of them have gotten through permitting?
I'd say probably close to 10 are demo permits, and most of them have been demoed. I'm not gonna get
Like
exactly.
totally demo?
Totally.
I have one question, City Manager. The 15 no contacts, so what is the ultimate resolution if there is no contact? Does the city take control and do eminent domain and do the demolition? Or what does the city do with 15 no contacts? We're now at 8 months.
I think we need to do code violation cases. Okay.
All right.
We get one last one.
Yes.
On the pump station, you said that we should probably take that information on for that road. Would we bring it to a work session for that road, just for, we were in there?
So, if everyone is satisfied with the report, we wouldn't necessarily need to bring it back
Okay.
to a work session. We can get it on to be put together a bid to
My
advertise.
understanding that it would come back with more than one option. As I remember the request, they might come back.
Yes, because they were going to compare two different
Right,
sites.
we're going to compare two different scenarios, so then I'm thinking, like, this is just a yes or no, it's like, pick which one, and then a yes or no.
I will send out the report and then I'll make
Okay.
a proposal based on how we're at.
But I'm not sure if I would get that.
I just want to know if we approve that pump tonight, we wouldn't get that pump until sometime late in February next year. 40 weeks.
Unless you can find another bottom.
Good luck.
I hear you.
All right. Let's move on to the city clerk report. How you doing, Kathy?
Good. So I turned in my report, and beyond that, I just want to remind everyone that you should have received an email for the Form 1 that's due July 1st. So if you have any questions or didn't receive one, get with me and make sure we get it turned in on time.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments for the interim city clerk? Not official yet. Yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned all the increased activity on Gulf Boulevard, and there was some mention that they're seeing a lot of speeding, traffic violations, noise. So that is a directed patrol on Gulf Boulevard with the speed signs. There's a lot of effort just to make sure that that area is being policed, and we're tracking the numbers.
Good.
And then they're also doing the bridge as well. But just for a frame of reference, they see a lot more speeders coming down over that bridge than more so the Gulf Boulevard. But we'll continue to track the numbers.
Could I also make a request for the directed patrols? It seems to be an awful lot of cars are speeding through the crosswalks, even with somebody in the crosswalk. I've seen several instances of them just blowing past. So if we could put some type of notice to the sheriffs of pay attention to the crosswalks, because that's where you should have the right of way. You shouldn't have to be dodging cars that are deciding they don't want to stop.
Yeah, I know our daytime deputies spend time sitting at the crosswalks and watching, especially with the school buses.
Okay. Did we have any questions for the city clerk? Any more questions for the city manager? All right. In that case, let's move on to the consent agenda. This is items 8 and 9. Approval of the May 12, 2025 City Council meeting minutes, and item 9, approval of the May 19th, 2025 City Council work session minutes. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda? Motion is made by Councilmember Harper. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Joey Shirley. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda passes. All right, now we're on to item 10, which is appointment to the Park and Recreation Board. And I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, so you feel free to correct me. Is it Condra? Candra, okay. And it's Covert?
Yes.
Okay. Well, now that we're speaking, would you like to come on up to the podium and introduce yourself to the council?
Donna Kander-Covert. I have lived on Harrison Avenue for a little over 5 years now, but I'm born and raised in Clearwater, Florida. So I'm a forever Floridian, and I am just looking forward to do what I can to better my community.
Good. Any questions for Kendra? No?
Thanks for applying.
Okay, definitely. All right. I'm going to ask you to have a seat, and then we'll call for citizen comments, and then I will call for a motion. Would any citizen like to comment on this appointment? Oh, please come on up. Give us your name and address, and
Patty Roberts, 102 20th Street. And yes, please vote her in, because I need help on Parks and Rec.
thank you. Any other comments? All right, citizen comments are now closed. Council, I need a motion to appoint Kander-Covert to the Park and Recreation Board. Motion. Motion is made by Frank Bankert. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to give that one to Vice Mayor Roberts. Any comments?
I'll just say that I know Kendra personally, and she, helped me with flags when we had Memorial Day, because I was out of town. She had to pick up for me because I wasn't there to take the flags up. Very active in the community, always out walking her dog, so she sees what's going on, and she's just a great, full of energy and positive person. So I would highly recommend her on the boards.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Kathy, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Frank Bankert.
Yes.
Councilmember Kim Shaw Elliott.
Yes.
Councilmember Todd Harper.
Yes.
Councilmember Jody Shirley.
Yes.
Councilmember Anders Wellings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lloyd Roberts.
Yes.
Mayor Dave Gaddis.
Yes, and you are in unanimously. Congratulations, and thank you so much for helping us out. All right. Now we are on to item number 11. This is an invitation to bid for city property repairs at 1001 Cedar Drive. City Manager Riefler.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the invitation to bid for 1001 Cedar Drive. The structure was damaged in Hurricane Helene by floodwaters. And this, we did get the structure insurance payout for, I believe it was mid-70s, and the numbers presented in the work session, and then were some contents, I believe, were off 15,000. So there is money that we got back from the flood insurance policies that we held for the property. And this is the same bid that we discussed in the work session. I did, move the dates up. If approved, I would release this on Wednesday, June 4th, and have it due on July 16th. Just to get it out there, I think that'll be enough time to get some prices in, and then we can make some considerations on what we want to do with the property.
Okay, and I'll tell you what, before we do anything else, we need to go to the citizens for comments, and then we'll have discussion. Would anyone like to speak on this topic? All right, citizen comments are now closed. Council, I need a motion to release the bid.
Motion.
Motion is made by Frank Baker. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to give that one to Mr. Roberts. Mr. Baker, you have the floor.
I think it's due time that we get this house, this area restructured, and possibly the EMT unit in there. We've discussed this pretty much in the last work session. I believe I believe it'll probably be, we won't be paying anything out of pocket, much out of pocket. Insurance is covering all this, plus the fire money we're getting back is substantial, so I think it should be approved.
Other comments? Questions?
Our fire chief, I believe, indicated that there might be an opportunity to share that building. Did I do that correctly earlier?
I believe that's correct.
So is there anything that we need to consider as we do any renovations? motivation for the potential of a joint use? And is there any opportunity for any cost sharing?
So, right now, the bid addresses first the elements that were damaged, just to get it back to a more workable space. And then some of the additional things, like where the countertops, the sink built out, and the replacing the windows, so the impact windows. Those are all items that, you know, the fire department has already agreed that they would cost share if we decide that we want to go down that road. But releasing this bid is really to get the pricing, you know, turned in and really see what we're looking at for consideration.
But I just want to make sure we weren't doing any changes that might impede what we want to do in the future.
No major remodeling of the, other than just finishing the walls and electrical.
Basically putting it back.
And if you could review the work session documents, so thank you.
Correct. Any other discussion on this topic? Okay, well, the motion is to release the bid. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, now we are on to item 12, which is the underground conversion agreement with Duke Energy. Mr. Riegler.
So this agreement was put together, they started with the binding costs estimate that we agreed to back in September of 2022, but they added some placement locations and some description of where they're going to put the equipment in. The one key thing to point out, and this has been true since we've been putting equipment in the right of way, if you go down to let's see, page 2 of the second document, it says, you know, future relocation work, and it places the city responsible for, you know, paying for any future relocation of that equipment if it goes in the right of way. We don't foresee, neither does the county, of any kind of widening in the near future, or possibly ever, of Gulf Boulevard. The selected locations are right on the edge of private property and the county right away, so we're moving them as far away as possible. But I just want to make sure that that is clear as part of the agreement. And so this, again, this agreement was originally signed in September 2022, but that was when they were asking that we obtain easements for this equipment all along the private property of Gulf Boulevard. And since then, they've agreed to change that. See in the right way.
All right, thank you very much. Would any citizens like to speak on this topic? All right, citizen comments are closed. Council, I'm going to need a motion to authorize this agreement with Duke Energy.
So moved.
Motion is made by Jody Shirley. Do I have a second? Second. Honors. All right, discussion. Jody?
This is, something we approved back many years ago. I think this will bring to the conclusion everything that the city is responsible for beautifying Gulf Boulevard and is necessary to move forward. I guess I just had one clarifying question, and that is that their costs have remained the same. The only thing they're changing is that language.
Yes, I did see when they sent this in the very beginning. I asked about that 7,000, and they said we've already paid. So there's no additional cost. It's really just a number.
Time frame on this project?
I'm trying to remember the last thing that Mr. Baker told us when he presented. They did deliver on the agreement. It was a month late because they didn't say they'd give it to us in May. So we signed this. I'd have to go back to what he committed to. It's very tough.
Okay, that's all right.
It just says they'll be done in 15 months.
Yeah, that's not that.
So, I mean, if we sign it, probably it'll get started next month, I would think.
questions? Yes, Mr. Roberts.
During the phase one, Kyle, did we use easements there or right away as well? I couldn't remember.
No, they let us place in the right of way in some areas. We use our right of way as well.
Okay.
But this go around, they made us go through a lot more hoops. There's a lot more easements.
Okay. Thank you.
And we've voted on this thing many times, so I don't really have a problem just doing it for which road right away. Any other comments before I call for that? No? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Mr. Reaper, you are authorized to proceed. Thank you. Okay, and we're up to appointment of city clerk. Mr. Reaper.
Okay, so I am making the recommendation for council to consider approving Kathy Thornsberry as the next city clerk of the city of Bel Air Beach. I believe that through the interviewing process, she's proven that she's got the interest, the skills, the intelligence to take on this role, and she's in-house, already knows a lot of information with the city, so I think she's fully capable, and I tried to cover some of the stuff she's already impressed me with over the times that she's been here. She's taken on a lot of programs and constantly is looking to improve kind of how we function and improve processes. So she is always, since we've hired her, always taking on above and beyond what a job description is. So that's a positive attribute, I believe. And I wrote out the conditions. I'm recommending a starting salary of $80,000, and the following conditions. I asked for that she immediately joins the International Institute of Municipal Clerks and the Florida Association of City Clerks. Both of these are, it's the national and the state level of the Clerks Association, which she will need to obtain and apply for her certified municipal clerk certification. That is the first certification you can achieve through these associations. And starting immediately, because there's two conferences and academies held by this association each year. There's a summer conference and a fall academy. And she has the opportunity to obtain these educational credit points and experience points through these academies. So attending both academies this year and next year, and earning at least 30 educational points per year, and then so you have to earn a total of 60 continuing educational credits to apply for this CMC certification, but you also have to meet 50 experience credits, and I think that is going to be more the restricting factor as far as her being able to apply for her CMC certification. So I expect in the first 2 years she's going to have all her points for her educational requirements, and then depending on what she can get transferred over from her past professional experience and what she can attend and transfer to experience points, I expect that within the third year, as soon as she's able, she can earn that certification.
Okay.
So we actually did, I did get the previous city clerk, Renee, had reviewed this just to get everything she has achieved this certification, and she agreed that this was a reasonable expectation. And then I would just like to, I included her application materials, and I just would like to request the city council consider some kind of retroactive pay from when she assumed taking on the extra responsibilities. And just for reference, it was May 5th was the last, Renee's last day. And, yeah. So no, Renee's last day was May 2nd, and then May 5th would be the Monday following.
All right. Before we go to the council, would any citizen like to comment on this topic? All right. Kathy, would you like to speak on this topic?
I would just like to say I would be excited to have the opportunity. I know there's learning and a big learning curve, but I'm ready and excited to start it. I've already looked into the conference to go to in July, and I'm set up to go. I've already spoke to them. I've transferred over the clerk's information, so they're sending me the information now. So that's where I'm at.
All right. And you have attended one big city meeting also.
Yes.
Okay, council, I am going to need a motion to appoint Kathy as city clerk.
Motion.
Motion is made by
Second.
Banker, and second by Todd Harper. Mr. Banker, you have the floor.
I think we should thank her for stepping up, stepping into the job, and I think she's done a great job so far. I have a lot of confidence in you.
Thank you.
Other comments? Oh, yes. Mr. Roberts.
First of all, I'd like to thank the city manager for putting out the pathway and the plan from an educational standpoint, which was helpful to me. I know there's maybe been a couple of people in the city that we've received information, emails concerning Kathy's background. I don't think that's an issue at all. In my personal professional opinion, and I've expressed this a couple of times, when you're looking at candidates, pretty much anybody can take care of the technical requirements. It may take some time, in your case, for some of the information that the city manager laid out, but to have the right person from a personality standpoint and a good fit for the city is the most important thing in my professional opinion. We have a small staff, and I know the city manager does a great job of taking a look at people that he hires to make sure they fit in well, which is important, and I'm confident Kathy, I know she fits in well because she already does, so thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other comments? Oh, all right. Well, in that case, let's take it to a vote. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Frank Banker,
Yes.
Councilmember Kim Shaw Elliott,
Yes.
Councilmember Todd Harper,
Yes.
Councilmember Jody Shirley,
Aye.
Councilmember Andrews Welling,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lloyd Roberts,
Aye.
Mayor Dave Gaddis.
Yes. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You are now the full-time city clerk, and we are grateful to have you and look forward to working with you. I've already seen a few improvements, little things, little tweaks here and there. I like what you're doing so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the next 3 years goes.
Thank you.
Really cool. All right.
Before we move on, can I clarify that, do we approve the retroactive pay?
Yeah, that was I think that it's not on the agenda, but that's not in the contract, or is it?
Well, it was in my memo, or it was not in my memo.
Well, I guess what we can do is call for a motion and see if we can make that happen. Would anyone like to make a motion on providing retroactive pay for the last month where Kathy was doing extended duties?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Citizen comments. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
All right, citizen comments. Oh, you want to? Yes, please come up.
Oh, I don't need to come up with this. Yes, I think she's doing a great job. I've been up here annoying her a few times. So,
Thank you.
And she really fits in perfectly. So, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Any other citizen comments? All right, the citizen comments are now closed. The motion was made by, no, it's not, yes, it has been made. So, comments from the council? No comments? Okay, well, let's vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I don't think so. All right, congratulations twice tonight. Nice job. All right, now we are to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business anyone would like to discuss? All right, unfinished business is now over. Council comments. Let's start with Councilmember Welling.
Yeah, I think I was prepared to talk a little bit about the check valves and the flooding we were experiencing in 7th, 8th, and 9th, but I felt like we really covered it today, so Kyle gave me some new info and print, so I feel like we're on our way, and I appreciate the council's sensitivity to the emergency nature of this, so I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Welling. Now we're up to Jody Shirley.
Nothing further other than to say congratulations to our new clerk and our new member of our Parks Committee. Thank you all for stepping up.
It's a good night whenever Jody Shirley's happy. All right, now we're to Councilmember Harper.
I think the big thing here is that I think the city is coming together very nicely. I think the repairs are moving forward. I think the idea of getting Kathy on board, the budgets look really good. I feel really solid about where we stand and where we're moving forward.
Thank you. All right, now we are to Councilmember Elliott.
No comments tonight, thank you.
All right. Councilmember Baker.
I want to address Elevate Florida, which many of our residents applied as soon as this agency is open. Many of these same residents also looked beforehand to elevate their homes at the beginning of this year, which could have been started and now completed by now. I addressed Elevate Florida about letting residents go forward but not removing them from the grant process, which I received a stern warning that if anyone attempts to raise their homes without approval of Elevate Florida, they would be taken out of the possibility of grant money. I was further told that this process would be expedited once open, which as of last week, it was brought to my attention that Elevate Florida still has not one contractor on their list to elevate or rebuild homes. Actually, they just put out a contractor qualifying list a week ago. I also heard from Jake Fiedler from the state addressing my Elevate Florida concerns. He did say they started the home inspection process as of last week, but when asked how many homes have been inspected in what counties that are being done, he said, I'll have to get back to you. On our permitting issues, while I received a mixed bag of complaints and a few compliments regarding permitting and inspections, I do want to note our city is limited on both processes. I further addressed our city manager on some of the permitting contradictions from one inspector to another, which he did address to the county about 2 months ago, which seems to clear some of these mess-ups. Since the day I became aware of residents' frustrations on permitting, inspections, FEMA, etc. While it was mentioned about looking elsewhere for a private inspection service rather than the county, which I thought we may have one earlier this year, they changed their proposal at the last minute. And our previous city attorney then noted that the private provider service, which is allowed by law to circumvent the county, and Kyle and I got together on that, and our attorney showed me a pathway to do this. So I actually used a private provider, which really streamlined the whole process. And I sent out an email to a number of residents. Private provider asked you what time do you want the inspections. They show up within minutes of that time. The county says we'll be out between 8 and 5. It's one inspector does your house. It's not a bunch of inspectors. So they can do everything from permitting, inspections. If your house is substantially damaged, they can even work with that. So hopefully down the road we do go away from the county and use a private provider or private services. That's it.
All right. Well, congratulations, Mr. Baker. I'm glad that worked out for you, and thanks for the information. Now we're up to Vice Mayor Roberts.
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Okay. I don't really have anything to add this time either. It's relatively calm, and sometimes it's just best to leave it just the way it is. So, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion is made by Councilmember Baker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Roberts. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Worked out.
Did I leave somebody
Everyone
out?
get a chance to, yes.
Mike?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Wasn't that before?